In this video, we're going to show you how to draw a side wall or specifically a window in your drawings. If we take a look at the rubric, what we have is I showed you how to draw a plain wall, showed you how to draw a door wall. Now I'm going to show you how to draw a window wall, but in the door window wall, you could have a variety of things. Your door and window wall could have been included together in the short 10-inch wall, or it could have been included or can be included in the long 16-inch wall. You can do those drawings together if your plan calls for it. So these two grades could have been done in one wall. So technically, you only needed two drawings here, one for a plain wall. Then if you combine these two in that wall, that would have been enough. Here is the one that I'm going to demonstrate right here, is just the long wall with a window in it. So now what you got to do is you have to take a look at your plan. Now from here to here, that was the first wall I showed you. There was nothing in a plain wall. Then on my rough draft, I had a door in here, and that's what I showed you in another video. Now what I'm going to show you in this one is how to draw this. My walls are the same from here to here and from here to here. The windows are exactly the same placement. So I'm going to show you how to put that window in there and how to draw it. So the first step that I want to do, like we've been doing, is on the bottom of your paper, just come up just a little bit off from the edge, draw a straight line across. Now, what do we need to do again? Get the thickness of our bottom plate, which is 3/8. Then we need to draw another line. Now, to get the height of our wall, we can use a stud, or it is 7 1/4. We want to do that in a couple different spots so we can draw the straightest line as we can. Now, we also have the thickness of the top plate that we need to put in also, and that is, once again, 3/8. So what we're going to do is come up here, we're going to draw this wall, or excuse me, not wall, but the plate. Now we have the thickness of the plate. If you look, once again, I'm not really grading on whether the line is drawn exactly straight or whatever. What I'm grading on is how you place the members of your window. Make sure that you draw it correctly because you will be building it the same way. Now, how long is our wall? We have to go back. Remember, once again, we're drawing half scale on our problem sheet. We're drawing half scale. And we can also use this sheet that I provided you with. You can do these measurements, but I recommend that you pull off from your rough draft and draw what you want to draw in there. Now, our wall is 16 inches long. On this one, it is 32, but remember, half scale, so it's 16. So I come up here with a ruler, and I'm going to put down, we're going to start right here, and we're going to measure 16 inches over. Now, what I want to do here is I want to go 1.5, 1.5 to do that. And so I can measure 16 inches over on this wall. And here's 16. We take a shorter ruler or a stick, whatever we have, and we're going to draw this in. And we're going to draw this in. This now sets the parameters of where our wall sits. So there's our top plate, bottom plate, and there we go. Now the next step we need to do is mark, as we've been doing, mark the location of the studs. Remember, line X, Line X every 2 inches across from on the plate right there. And the reason why we're doing this is a house, as I'm going to keep reminding you, a house code is 16 inches on center. But to make that a lot easier so we can measure quicker and you get the idea, I know the 2 inches does not equal the half drawing. I get that. But this will make it a lot easier for you to do to get the gist of the idea. So now I have that marked out. Now I need to go back to my rough sketch, or you could go back to the plans that I gave you. Now mine says 8 feet from the corner. So what is half scale? Is 4 foot. All right, that's 4 foot over. Now, how long is my window? Well, it's a 6-foot window, which is a rather large window, but it's like a big bay window. So half scale, 6 foot would equal 3 inches. All right, so now I know from here to here, that is my rough opening. And I want to do that at the very top too, so I get some nice straight lines. 1, 2, 3. So there we go. Between those lines, that's where my window is going to go. So now what I can do is, I know the king stud is a full-size stud. So I'm going to draw this in. Now, there we go right there. So now let's put in our actual window. What do we see on each side of the window? We see a trimmer stud and a king stud. Trimmer stud, king stud. We see those. Remember on this sheet, as I showed you before, this is where you'll get some of the reminders if you've forgotten about some of the terminology and some of the vocabulary used in building the walls. This is my rough opening, so what I will do is, on the outside, I will measure 3/8, 1, 2, 3, that would be my trimmer stud. 1, 2, 3, this would be my king stud. So I'm going to come out here again, 1, 2, 3, trimmer stud, 1, 2, 3, king stud. I'm going to do the same thing on top. 1, 2, 3, trimmer stud. 1, 2, 3, king stud. Same thing over here. 1, 2, 3, trimmer stud. 1, 2, 3, 3/8, king stud. Now, if we take a look, this is how we're going to draw our headers. What we're going to do is take the board not that way, but flat, and we're going to draw this in right here. We're going to draw it in. Now, that is my header, but if we take a look at our design, on this particular design, and you can do this with your door also, we have a trimmer stud that also goes in there. So how do we draw that trimmer stud? We just take the stick this way, and we're going to put it in. All right? So now, if we take a look at our design, the trimmer studs support the headers. All right, they support the trimmer header and the header. So now we can come back to here and draw that in. Draw this in. Now, the header is right here, isn't it? So this right here will be erased. All right? And I didn't quite make my lines long enough, so I can just bring them over. So now, this is my trimmer. These are my trimmers, and that is the king stud. You see how the trimmers are now holding it up, but I maintain my rough opening for the window. Now, how high we need to put in a sill plate for the window. Remember we showed this diagram before, and different styles, different heights of windows for different areas. You can see the living room, dining room, and kitchen. So what I'm gonna do to make it simple is, I'm gonna come up 2 inches. Gonna come up 2 inches, and I am going to draw my sill plate. Remember, the sill plate goes between the trimmer studs. Take a look at this picture. This will help clarify up where they stop and where they go. And that's why this packet is developed for you. Now, we also know that by looking at this packet, we have a cripple stud here and another one here. This one will vary according to your design. Some of you won't even have a third cripple stud. You will only have the ones on the ends that are required. I can tell by my design that I need an additional one here because these were the 16 inches on center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in right here. I'm going to draw the cripple stud. So this turns to a cripple stud, turns a cripple stud, and this one will become a cripple stud. Now if you notice right here, my cripple stud is pretty darn close to the other cripple stud. That's fine, because that's just the way it works out in our design. We need one on the end here. We also need one on the end right here. So we have these 2 mandatory. This falls in place due to the line X is 16 inches on center, so we still need to put that one in there. Now, what's left in our wall? We're just gonna come back now and finish our studs that have nothing to do beyond holding the wall together. So now we're just gonna finish this up. If you notice, this stud's pretty close to the king stud right here, which I forgot to finish. It's pretty close to that king studs, but that's just the way that it works out. So you still need to put those in, because here's stud, here's the king stud, here's another stud. So we'll finish this out. Remember, I'm not drawing on every single line quality. I'm grading on and how you draw your windows, so it's a lot easier to make mistake on paper than it is to go through the entire building process and find out you don't understand what you're doing. That's why we're drawing these walls. I'll just finish a couple little lines right here. Now, the only thing left to do is finish labeling this one. This is a header. This is also like a trimmer header. This is the trimmer. This is a king stud, trimmer, king stud. This is a regular stud, regular stud, regular stud, regular stud, regular stud, regular stud, regular stud. This is the top plate. This is the bottom plate. This is a sill plate. This is a cripple stud, cripple stud, cripple stud. That is how we draw the long wall or a window wall. When you are done with that, what you will do then is you will find your rubric, bring it up to me, or take a picture of that and send it in so I can grade it if we're online. Or right now, you can bring it up to me and then you will be done. From this point forward, you will get wood, and then you will start to actually construct your house. Do you have any questions? Make sure you ask, and I will answer them, or email me if we're online. Thank you very much.